The fourth one of these solutions is this. It's more than one word, but here's the question. Where is the best place to sit in a classroom to have the best chance to pay really good attention? The front. And oftentimes I get somebody in the back of the room. Front. Front. Yeah. Front, okay? So all the people in the back are experts. Yep, there it is. There's the best place right up there. Some people almost look like, well, I'd sit in the front, but I can't afford the really good ticket, so I'm in the back. You can sit in the front, okay? The idea is to sit in the front and center. So I'm going to ask you a really quick question first before I explain why. What's the main reason why people who don't sit up here don't sit up here? It could be lazy, but there's something else. Well, yeah, text. Yeah, all that's true, but I'm not hearing the main one. Yeah, they don't want to get picked on, right? And so people think, man, if I'm right here, the teacher can all the way through the classroom, right? Well, you know what? That's possible, but you know who tends to get picked on the most? Yeah, people in the back. And I want to show you something. See if I can demonstrate this. When I'm looking around for somebody to answer a question, a lot of times the people near the front are, raising a hand or whatever. But I see, as I'm kind of walking around and I'm looking, I see sometimes a person in the back row doing this. Like that. And what are they doing? Yeah, they're trying to stay behind the person in front of them. So they're doing this little dance in their chair. If I see that, who am I going for? Man, I'm going to run up to them and pick on them. So it's kind of a lame excuse to say I don't sit in the front because I don't want to get picked on, because again, it's usually the opposite. What are some of the good reasons for sitting in the front? Well, first of all, let me ask a quick question. How many of you have at least one class this semester that's in a room that's bigger than this one? Okay, I'm assuming some of you do. If you don't, you will. Sometimes big theater seating. If you're in the front, usually you can hear better, especially if the teacher's kind of quiet. You can see better. That's pretty obvious. I love when teachers do this. I write everything in capital letters, so it's pretty easy to see. And even if you're in the back, you're not that far from me. But if you were twice as far back and I said, okay, do not forget that word. And everybody's like, what? You can't even see it, okay? So that's important. But also, here's another thing. People in the back, let me ask this. How nosy are you? Okay, if some people say, very much so, thank you. If you're nosy, where should you sit? Here, okay? Here's why. Students have told me, I sat in the back and I tried to listen to you and I just couldn't. And I said, why? And they said, there are so many people to look at in front of me. And these are nosy people, so they're looking at me and they're listening, and then they're like this. That's a nice jacket. I'll have to find out where she got that. Oh, I wouldn't have worn that with that. I don't know what she was thinking. Just nosy, just in everybody's business except where you're supposed to be focused. I've had students before say they sat in the middle to the back part of the room, and they said once class started, they didn't even notice anything around them. It's like everything went black except for the teacher, and they concentrated great. So if that's you, you could sit wherever. But if you're the type of person, again, who's distracted really easily, and it's just one little movement. I've had people say that somebody, all they had to do was adjust their glasses, and they looked at them, and they're just looking all over the place. This is where you should sit. And also, here's the last thing about sitting front and center. Then we're going to get to our big solution that hopefully you'll have a little bit of fun with. We're going to do an activity in a minute. How many of you have ever had a class before where participation was part of the grade? Okay, I'm assuming quite a few. Okay, if you're an outgoing person, no problem. But if you're really shy or nervous at all about speaking in class, that's terrifying. Well, you have two choices. If you're really shy and you never like speaking in front of the class or answering a question or anything else, you can either say, well, I'll just get a 0 on all those points and try to do well on the rest, which is not so good, or you have to figure out a way to get some courage going. Best way I know to get courage, sit in the front. What is a person who is sitting in the back and who starts to talk and is being brave, what are they most afraid of?
People looking at them.
Yeah, people turning around and looking at them. Well, I've had people in my class say, okay, it's the first time they've ever raised their hand in like 12 weeks. And I'm so excited. And they say, yes? And they say, the answer is, and then they look around and everybody's doing this, and they're, never mind. And then they practically go into a shell. When you're sitting right here and the teacher asks a question, you can kind of pretend like it's just the two of you. Now, if the teacher's really scary, that doesn't help at all. But if the teacher's okay, and I know you hear everybody coughing and breathing behind you, but if you can't see them, it tends to build courage. And so in a class like that, it really tends to help to move up for that reason. Okay? And again, harder to fall asleep when you're in the front row. I've had a few people prove me wrong on that. I'm talking and they're right there, like that. But usually it's harder, okay? And you feel kind of more like you have to pay attention in the front, which is a good thing. Okay.